I gotta click all my mice. Hey, that was the simplest thing I've done all night. Welcome back to UNO, everybody.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
To the March 2022. Our last biggest meeting here was in March of 2020.
Oh, wow.
Almost.
Seriously?
Yeah. We were here in it was January and November. But I think we have more people this time. It's pretty good. But we had what was his last name? Hoffman. John Beck Hoffman was here from JPL, or he worked with JPL. That's right. That was a fascinating discussion that night. Certainly drew a large crowd. We used a separate room for that meeting. And we had our little business meeting in a tinier room than this after the presentation. So for our folks joining us from home, if you have headphones, you can use them. Please mute your microphone. If you do not want to be seen, I don't have the power to blur your face, but you can mute yourself, just like on those videos on the news. You can change the side-by-side view, so you can kind of see how they are over there. You can, well, try to say something, because I won't be able to monitor as well. Okay, thank you. And final motion, please unmute, state your name or whatever. Do we have any guests in the room? Yes. What's your name? How did you hear about us? Hi, John. Welcome to the room at John's. Cool. Long time interest in astronomy? Cool. Nice. So you found us via the website or like social media? Yes. Okay, that's good. Hi, Jeff. Nice. Same questions. Long-time astronomy fan?
You know, I used to go to the planetarium all the time with my son when he was in 8th and 9th and 10th grade. I tried to get him to come tonight, but he's a little beyond that and hard to wrangle.
Is that the video game competition?
No, he's at home.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? We do have one online. Speak. Or are they typing in the chat? Oh, okay. How did you hear about us? Haspa? Really? Maybe you heard about it from you then. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, welcome to OAS. As a member of OAS, you will also become a member of the Astronomical League and will receive the Reflector quarterly newsletter. I think I have an older one here. There's the newer one right over there. Mine's a little dated. You do get access to Astro Park, or observing site in Weeping Water, Nebraska. We have a great telescope loan program where you can try out a telescope to observe or experience the different types of telescopes that are around the world, well, within our purview. Our monthly newsletter, Stella, has a lot of information, a lot of good articles, and is a very good resource. We also have a Discord server. And members can make and vote on motions during business meetings. Woohoo! Oh, he says, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, here's our meeting schedule. Next month, April 1st, that is no joke. We will be here, as well as May 6th for both hybrid situations. We are going to start working on our next phase with UNO on starting with June. I'll get in touch with Sharon on working with that. As you know, we have to do sort of like a contract every year and renew that every year. So I don't have a June date right now because that's like a placeholder to remind myself. Get it started.
There is a possibility of changes too, depending on
Construction, right. Yep. So we may not be in the same room, but we'll see.
Door access may also change things.
Oh, we may have to go around the other side.
That's one of the, because they're filling in that mezzanine.
Oh, okay.
But that's in the main doors then at that time. But I
Okay.
don't know when that part of phase construction.
I'm thinking maybe we should like, once we find out what entrance it is, like take some pictures so you can look at it from distances. Because it should be, it'll be brighter by this time then. So that'll be good. Oh, reminder, Misrule 2022 is in June, hosted by SLAS in St. Louis. They're on the university as well as a couple other places. I know we had people at Astro Park because I was one of them. At least last weekend, there were 10 people. There were 5 Sunday, 5 Saturday. So you were in the 5 on Saturday, Bill? Okay. Yes, Louis.
I was there on 2 Sundays.
2 Sundays? 11.
There Sunday and Saturday.
So, yep.
Maybe 2 other times over the last month that went back.
Okay.
Yeah, you were there both Sundays.
We'll say 14. That's a good number, right? Awesome. I'm happy with that. Hey, awards chair. Any awards? No awards this month? Check out the list in the Stella. You bet. Maybe even some Messiers.
Outreach is gonna start up again. Yeah. Get an outreach award.
Observing chair. Oh, she's back there. And Zoom is preventing my stuff from showing up.
John, did you mention the new mask policy at UNO?
No, I didn't. Oh, so yes, the policy is recommended.
That changed the day after the stuff.
Right, so after the Stella deadline, they changed the policy on masks. So it is a recommended rather than required. Some of us who work in schools and things continue to wear them.
All right, March 2022. It's been 2 years since I've stood here. If it's not raining or cloudy, Jupiter barely 2 degrees above the horizon in the eastern sky now in the morning. Most of the planets are really in the morning now. On March 28th, the best day, and then a few days maybe after, you can see Moon, Saturn, Venus, and Mars. So if you want to photograph them or just look at them, that's the day to try. The way they are situated, especially Mars, Venus in the sky, if you read about it, there's a lot of days where they're close together, the moon moves closer, further apart, and they form nice conjunctions in the sky. Uranus is visible in dark skies with the binoculars. Of course, Venus is brilliant in the morning, so is Mars, not as brilliant, but still visible. And Mercury is really low in the sky, but it's in the morning sky. New moon on the 2nd, full moon on the 18th, And of course, we have the spring equinox on March 20th. Technically, it's around 10:33 a.m. And daylight savings time starts March 13th. So 2 a.m., spring forward. I think that's all I have for this month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do. Outreach.
My knee work.
Would you like me to mic you up, sir?
Oh, I guess. Hello?
I gotta turn it on.
That way you don't have all that crackling.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think these made it in the newsletter. I can't figure out why, but anyway, we'll start off next week with our, and that's an earlier date, but let me do the first one first. Next Tuesday, I looked at the long-range weather forecast and it looks fairly favorable. I think the high Tuesday is predicted to be about 52, but relatively clear. It'll start cooling off, but so there's a good possibility to get out there next Tuesday. Now, tomorrow night was supposed to be the inaugural event for 2022 for the Branched Oak Observatory, which is out northwest of Lincoln. I got a text from Michael yesterday or this morning, I think it was, saying that due to the rain forecast, total cloud out for tomorrow, they're postponing that until next Saturday, the 13th.
12.
Or 12th, is it? Let me check.
Thought it was the 12th.
How many people did he let know? Maybe he put the wrong date in mind. Well, I know it was, let me look here. Let me check. Friday, to see it's going to be Friday. Repeat, Friday, March 12th instead of tomorrow night.
I have the
Friday's the
12th is a
11th.
Saturday.
Saturday's the 12th.
What year
Friday's
are
the
you
11th.
on?
March 12th. It's 2022.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was telling me 13th was Saturday? Okay. So next Saturday, the 12th. Everybody got that straight now? Also, I have some thank yous from our fall events out at the Carol Joy Hauling with the kids. They came to Krista. I'll just pass them around. If you can see them, pass them on around. Now, I know this is not until April, but heads up. Maybe this is something we want to discuss in new business. Do we want to participate in this year's Earth Day? Because they are planning to have an Earth Day at Elmwood. Chris, remember the date? I think it's. Okay, well, I didn't put it down because it's going to be an April event. So, but we'll, if we want to participate, I think there's I think they upped it to $75 fee to be part of that. And so we'll need to get that in.
I think that's
soon. Yeah, I think we did put it in the budget.
Saturday, April 23rd.
23rd, okay. Now, the other thing, as far as, picking up on outreach, have any of you heard anything that would be in the loop for what they call it, the Nebraska
The Nebraska
Science Festival?
They haven't had any information come out.
I haven't seen anything.
They were talking-
I mean, I haven't actively, okay.
Yeah.
Now, the science fair is virtual and only there's 3 or 4 of us that are going to go online and judge that. I think I'd sent a note out. I got some responses there, but that's just for us to go online and look at the science fair projects that might be astronomy and space related. So
Is Astronomy Day same day as Earth Day?
No.
No.
They've changed this year. Okay.
and I haven't looked to see where Earth Day or where Astronomy Day was. Anything else? Any questions? Louis?
Just to comment on the Platte Valley Astronomical Observers are going to do a star party for Earth Day in Vermillion, South Dakota on the 22nd, which is
Of April.
Friday.
I think so. Yeah, I had seen that email come through.
Up in Vermillion, if you're excited about going up there.
Road trip to Vermillion.
Road trip to Vermillion and help the Platte Valley observers out with their star party. Could be.
I will get more information. I
could be
mean,
interesting. Could be fun.
it'd be a fun trip,
Did you say
maybe.
April 23rd?
April 22nd. It's, yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's the 22nd.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you saw?
I saw it from, yeah, Mark Erweiler, the president of the,
22nd.
yes.
So Friday night, because Earth Day is Friday, the 22nd.
The real
Earth
Earth Day, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Elmwood Park.
And we'll be on the 23rd on Saturday. Got it.
Astronomy Day is May 7th. Spring Astronomy Day.
We've never really done anything on astronomy. Who do I?
Berkeley is so much better attending.
Yes. Oh, it's to get out and see the public, even though it's, daytime. Yeah. Anything else? Good.
Astronomy Day is like follows May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th,
May the 4th.
Star Wars.
Okay.
So they have it on the 7th.
Yeah.
We used to do an event in Lincoln that we would go down and do.
Years ago, yeah. We tried it here at UNO a couple times, probably even before you were around.
It was before me.
It was
Stafford.
Trying to figure my escape route.
I can just bring the microphone to you if you want.
Just hide in the corner.
Okay.
Is it on?
Yep. Hold it close a bit.
This doesn't, what
Did I not update it?
well, I think it's updated. What I did in the still, if you're looking at this and it looks a little different, I did some rearranging of it. So the content is there, just what I did was broke it down into refractors, Schmidt-Cassegradians and reflectors, so that when people look at that list for the first time, it gives an idea of what type of scope it is and whether it's there or not. We only had one scope go out this month, which is good, the 4-inch refractor. And again, if you see something that looks interesting, ask about it. If someone's had it for a while, I can retrieve it or have them to bring it back. So, and that's about it for the scope report.
Thank you, Stafford. Program chair.
So tonight I have John Johnson kindly presenting for Messier Marathon Month. Hear more about his experience with his observation experience and everything for kind of his trip around the night sky here. So yeah, kind of excited to have him come on and share his wisdom and everything. And a lot of it I know will be really useful come this summer. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. Hey. So is there any tool times? Anyone? What if let's see if I can do this. Oh, look at that. You can see my notes. There are a few of us who've been using 3D printers for our astronomy work. These are some samples of a few things. Here's a shoe for your finder that goes on top. Little dovetail shoe. These are two 0.96 to 1 1/4 telescope eyepiece adapters. So if you have an older school, you can adapt those into it. And this is a tablet mount that attaches to your tripod leg. It's a little spot for a Velcro strap to go through it. This is originally made for the CPC telescope mount. It's just like a 2-inch leg. My tablet won't fit in here, so if anybody wants it, it's up here for free. Yeah, I'll show those too. It should fit a phone. Do you want to try it? No? Okay. And here's some other things that were also made. This is a green laser pointer mount that goes in the finder shoe. So you can see an example of how this fits in there.
What design difference would make it a red laser?
It would be different colors. For those of us who might be red-green colorblind, I am not, it won't matter. These were kind of fun to do. It prints essentially like that on the table, and it prints as it goes up, so you can see the striation lines. But all these bolts had to be done separately. Oh,
So they're not, you gotta switch.
sorry.
Yeah, switch your camera.
I can do that on the computer. Sorry, everybody. Oh, look at that. I didn't know you could do that.
There you go.
Oh, sorry. You didn't get to see all of them. Start over. Look, there's your, but wait a minute, it's not showing on the, is it showing?
Yeah, it is. Let me see.
Oh, okay, all right. Thank you. So there's the eyepiece adapters right there. And these are a couple of
Cool.
finder scope shoes. This is the laser mount.
The green laser mount.
Red lasers don't work very well at night. But these were all self-tapped. You actually put the bolt through it and tap the plastic to get it to run. So the looser they are, the more that you've tapped it in a way. But it holds the laser in there like that. They're fairly tough. I mean, you don't want me to break it? I won't break it. Which one? You had the white one, right? Yep. So give it a couple of turns and it's going to stay in that hot shoe like that. But here's that tablet mount. It's fairly, I mean, this is fairly tough for what it is. On a 3D print, you can change your infill settings. So if you want to do rapid prototyping, you could make a very low infill, like 5 to 10%. You have a hand up?
Carla wants to know what kind of plastic these are made out of.
This is called PLA or polylactic acid. It's like a plant-based component. Over time, you don't want to keep them exposed to the sun. They will kind of degrade a little bit. But there are filaments like PTFE and PETG, which do a bit better in the sun than these. But since these are mostly telescopes at night, it should be okay. But I'm going to put a few things out for free if people want them tonight. So that's my tool time. Hooray. Hooray. Now I got to go back, don't I? Okay, shall we take a short break?
Question about colors of that plastic.
Colors of the plastic?
Does it come in neon orange?
It comes in so many colors. You can even get rainbow colored filament that changes color, that has different colors as it prints. Can I show one of your items? Let me see, I gotta find the right window here. Yes. I have to share this screen again. There it is. I'm finding it. So as the filament prints, it changes to a different color inside the thread. So that's why it deposits a different color as it goes up. You can also get glow-in-the-dark filaments. So you can charge them up and then they'll glow for you. But it's pretty neat stuff. There are people who do actually print in nylon and ABS. It requires much higher temperatures. You're talking 270 degrees C for the nozzle. And you need an exhaust hood for those because the fumes will get you. It will be really kind of noxious. It is something else. But you can get a printer for, gosh, under $300. Shall we pause, or is there any more questions? Oh. Okay. Let's pause our recording.
It's still cut. No, see, it's over there. So I guess you have to look at that one. As an astronomer in the French Navy's hydrogeological department, his main avocation became the hunting and studying of comets. He discovered 13 comets. His success, well, we read about the Les Feux des Comètes. And he passed away in Paris on April 12th, 1817. So he had a long, full life. It was filled with a lot of tragedies. He lost his wife and first son in childbirth. And of course, he went through the French Revolution and nearly lost his head. That's for another time. His claim to immortality, though, was the publication of an astronomical catalog consisting of 110, or there's debate whether it's 109 or 110 or 100, whatever, and of nebulae and faint star clusters, which came to be known as the Messier objects. Messier's purpose for the catalog was to help other astronomical observers to distinguish between permanent and transient visually diffuse objects in the sky. In other words, other comet hunters, so they wouldn't be confused by the ones that didn't move through from night to night. And it all started with the Crab Nebula in Taurus. It was M1, and the most sky charts label the location of these objects with the letter M for Messier and the number all the way up to 110. For instance, the brightest Messier is M45, the famous naked eye Pleiades open star cluster, which I'm sure everybody has viewed many times. Okay, viewing the Messier objects has become kind of the first list of deep sky objects to look for many or most beginning amateur astronomers. Most of us have, or a lot of us have tried to, and some of us have succeeded in seeing all 110, not in all one night, but over the years. It's considered a major accomplishment to observe and record the entire list of 110 objects. Many astronomy organizations present certificates and other awards for this prestigious accomplishment, and including the Astronomical League's Messier Observing Award, which we have quite a number of members here that have received that award. Okay, moving on. Well, see, that one cuts the top off now.
Yeah, but I'm having problems with this.
Go to more. Is it end up there?
There's one on this side, not over here.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
The Zoom participants aren't having this.
Oh, they're saying, okay, well, good.
They're getting-
So we'll,
If they set up their screen properly.
they should be seeing it. Okay, that's good to know.
Just a second, just a second.
Well, we're still crawling in this technology here to try to do both.
For some reason, I'm gonna click your slide there, okay?
Okay,
Hoping that it would make sure that this is what's active rather than that.
I guess that's why I share the whole thing.
oh, well,
Well,
we'll make it do.
If that'll fix it, then share your whole screen, John.
That's all right. The heading doesn't change much. So, but anyway, okay, question mark. How do you run the Messier Marathon? Am I able to click now or not? There, okay. So we're going to ask a bunch of questions. What is the Messier Marathon? Who started it? When to do it? How to do it? And some preps. Okay, what is a Messier Marathon? It's a term describing the attempt to find and observe as many of the Messier objects as possible in one night. The number of Messier objects visible in one night varies depending on a few factors, including the location of the observer, the duration. Oh, okay. The duration of daylight and nighttime. I was confused by the time lag. And the season, the positions of the Messier objects relative to the sun varies with the season, obviously. So who started running the marathon? The Messier Marathon was invented as best I've been able to figure out independently by several North American amateur astronomers in the 1970s. This included Don Machholz, who at the time was living in California and was a member of the San Jose Astronomical Association. I've read several articles from online that he wrote about the starting the idea, came up with the idea, and actually he said in the late 60s, early 70s, but he didn't really get around to actually trying it till about 1977 and got members of the San Jose Astronomical Society involved with doing that. And then lo and behold, unbeknownst to him, about the same time, there was two amateur astronomers back in Pennsylvania, Tom Hoffelder and Tom Reland, and they were members of the Amateur Astronomers of Pittsburgh at the time. And they started doing it. And I didn't have a slide, but how it kind of blew up the whole country was those of you who've taken Sky and Telescope for many years probably run across the name Walter Scott Houston. Walter Scott Houston wrote a column in Sky and Telescope called Deep Sky Wonders. And he brought it up and mentioned it in an article in the March 1979 issue of Sky and Telescope. And from then it was spread to throughout, wow, this is something other astronomy clubs around the country got on board to try. Oh, there was supposedly a Spanish group of amateurs that were doing it, but I couldn't find any other reference other than this was a note that was in the articles by Don Machholz. You probably have heard of Don Machholz before if you've followed astronomy for any amount of time. Don is an avid comet discoverer too. I mean, he's a searcher and discoverer. This is how he looks in a recent photo. He's got a big scope there, and he still searches for comets, although not many of them are found visually anymore. And he currently lives and observes in Arizona. Now, he's on Facebook, and I contacted him, friended him, and we shared a couple comments back and forth. Wish me luck. One of the other guys, there's a fairly recent photograph of these other two guys. Tom Reland, he still lives in Pennsylvania and still is an active observer back there in Pennsylvania. And the third one that was mentioned in the other slide was Tom Heffelder. He lives in Maine now, and I haven't contacted him, but from looking at his Facebook posts, he's into bird watching. He posts all kinds of just gorgeous pictures of birds on his Facebook site now. Anyway, little history about who started this. Okay, when is the best time to run it? The best opportunity occurs once every year around mid to the end of March. And it is also better to try, of course, when the moon is near a new phase, so it doesn't interfere or wipe things out. The best dates for 2022 happen to be tomorrow night, which is going to be a total cloud out, as they're saying, and or April 2nd. Now, these were all based around the new moons, as I think Sonali mentioned earlier in her talk. Again, now, give or take a few days, as far as the moonlight being a problem. But so why March or April? It's due to the placement or dispersion of the Messier objects across the sky. Here's a chart some of you have probably run across. It was published by Sky and Telescope many years ago. I think it was in another column of Walter Scott Houston's in Sky and Telescope. But this, oops, now what I do? There.
Oh, you get the mute button.
Okay, yeah, I bumped it. I'm not familiar. I should have used my own, but anyway. As you can see, they're haphazardly scattered across the sky. There was no set pattern of, as a lot of the star catalogs and a lot of the modern deep sky catalogs, when Messier discovered them, or he got input from other astronomers of the day discovered them, they started the list. And so it bounces around all over the sky as far as numbering system. I have another one that shows this a little better, but you can see over here on the left-hand side as you face it, they kind of stop right here. There's M39, M29, M15, M2, M30. And then you go on to the right-hand side, and there's, that one's cutting it off. There's M77, M74, M31, of course, Andromeda Galaxy. Now, here's another. Oh, I forgot about that.
That's okay. You do your thing. He wants to add in computer points.
Oh, it throws more on the screen.
Oh, forget it then. I just thought it might be helpful.
I'll try to talk my way through it. Now, this particular screen I found online, it's very colorful, and it warrants a lot of study to really understand what's going on. And of course, the part of it is being blanked out there at the top, but it was color coded and also size coded, or based on visual magnitude, and it kind of grouped the constellations. But the point again was this spacing on this side and this side. Now, to make this look, they call it the Messier gap. Now I can't click. There we go. It's called the Messier gap for reasons as you can see. Define a gap of the distribution of Messier objects. So someone had taken that other pretty chart and recentered it on the zero hour right here. And so running from about 20 hours to maybe 0-something hours, other than M52 up here, there's a gap. There's no objects in the lower declinations between 21 hours, 40 minutes and 0 hours, 40 minutes other than M52. And we're talking the right ascension numbers for those that may not understand that fully. And this happens to be where the sun's position runs from, say, end of February to the end of March. So obviously that's where the sun is. So that's the best time to try to see all the other Messier, or as many of them as you possibly can. Here's another eye-full chart here. With this one, and this was out of an old issue of Sky and Telescope magazine too, and it was kind of set up for the middle of March there. But let's start over here on either one. The evenings, these two slanted lines here are the nautical twilight and astronomical twilight. And you can see there's no objects right here in the middle, but these are the ones that you have got to get observed before they set after astronomical twilight. So that's always the tough ones in the evening, is to catch M33, and then maybe not as much as M31 and M32, because what this curved line is showing is how the actual, I mean, this is like a Mercator projection, but the curved line shows where the horizon is going to be. And so you get a little better chance maybe to catch M31 and its two satellite galaxies, M32 and M10 up there, and then maybe to catch these, and then maybe M79. The rest of them we'll get to a little bit later throughout the night. Then you shouldn't have any trouble with actually worrying about them getting too low in the sky to see. It's just finding them all and knowing where to look. Now in the morning, the problem is these last few that are rising before I'll get it, that are rising before astronomical twilight. And this was basically drawn for around our latitude here of 40 degrees. You can see M55, which is a really neat globular just to the left of Sagittarius. M75 hangs out there between Capricorn, just another small globular. M72 is another little globular. M73 is just 4 stars, or is it the other way around? Anybody know enough more than I do to correct me? I can't remember which is which. One of them is a little tiny globular cluster. The other one's just like a little clump of stars. And of course, M2 is a globular up there in Aquarius, and M15. So this is the mad rush to try to see these as they pop above the horizon. If it's clear enough, you got a low enough horizon. Now, here's always the tough one for our latitude, almost always, is the last globular, M30 here. You got to really be looking and almost have to have a, know ahead of time where you think it's going to be and have a big telescope to see. Other than that, the rest of the whatever 90 of them or so are can be found if you know where to look. Here's another interesting graphic showing you based on latitude. As you can see, trying to do this marathon is much easier. You get much more chances with dates at a lower latitude. Between 20 and 30 degrees, yeah, looks pretty good there. You get down to much lower than some of the ones way up north, you get hard to see. And you can see for right there that the window is supposedly to, and the limiting one is M30 in the morning and M74 at night. You only get about a 3-day window, according to the guy that put this chart together, to actually have any chance at all of seeing all 110. Go down to Arizona, you may have a better chance. Okay, how to observe? Well, that's pretty easy. It's any means you have available. There's no requirements here like there are for some of the other observing awards sponsored by the Astronomical League. Many of the brighter objects you can see in binoculars. So maybe you just want to do a binocular Messier and see how many you can get. Obviously, you aren't going to see those faint galaxies right after sunset, or probably none of those globulars. You may be able to catch M15. It's fairly bright. But a telescope with an accurately aligned finder scope will be needed to find the fainter ones, especially those in twilight. And there's no reason you can't use a automated go-to telescope to try to do this. Okay, some preps to think about. Be prepared. The Boy Scouts motto is a good one for the marathon. Get there early, get to the site as early as you can, at least by sundown, if not before. And there again, as far as site, you want to somewhere where you got really nice, clear, low western and eastern horizons to have any chance of seeing those faint ones in twilight. Have a plan on the tough early objects. In other words, you better have some charts and some measured, angles and, above altitudes, azimuth. You will not have much time between the first signs of darkness and when they set. Those ones I mentioned earlier, there are M74 is a galaxy in Pisces, M77 is a galaxy in Cetus, and of course the ones up north there, Andromeda, M31 and 32 and 110 is a little satellite of Andromeda. Try to view as many as you can and as early as you can in the rest of the evening, because you're probably going to get tired. How many have really done all night observing? Okay, there's quite a few of us. Up at the Star Party, NSP, yeah, that's about the only place I've ever done it. Take a break before you get to the Virgo cluster. Now is a good time to take a break. But you better prepare for the Virgo cluster. You will need a good plan to wind your way through the Virgo cluster and not get lost. So everybody's scratching their head. Okay, what's the Virgo cluster? What are we talking about? Bingo. Now these are screen dumps from Carter's Duccio, but yeah, my trusty assistants there are showing you what they call the Virgo cluster there. There's, I counted them, I think there's what, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 right in this area. And then of course you got M49, 14, M53, M64. So there's probably at least 15. And there's a few others that lie outside. Okay, over on that side, you see, that's not part of the Virgo, but there's M65 and M66, the two galaxies there off the tail of Leo. Okay, then this one shows M61, another galaxy down there. So it's going to take you a while to get through there and look at all those and to make sure you can identify them. Because not only are you going to see Messiers, but you're probably going to see some of the brighter NGC, New General Catalog galaxies that are dispersed throughout that area too, because that is what we call the realm of the galaxies. Okay, try to view all the objects down the eastern horizon. Take a long break or nap. At this point, as time, there is a natural break in the marathon. The next challenge that it picks up is when the Milky Way gets high enough, in that region there in the Milky Way in Sagittarius, Scorpius, up to Aquila. So that's the next challenge. There are at least 24 Messiers in this area. So here's a chart of those. You can see just a whole bunch of clusters of objects there. Most of these are either globulars or open clusters and some nebula, like M16 is the Eagle Nebula, M17 is the Swan, M18 is the little open cluster, M24 is what we call the Sagittarius star cloud. And of course, M8 right there by M20 and M8, M8 right there is the lagoon, and then you got M20 is the Trifid, and then right next to it there is another little open cluster of M21. And then you got globulars, globulars over here in Scorpius, M4, which is easy. M80 is not as easy. A couple of globulars, M19, M62. Now these little faint ones down here in Sagittarius, they're hard to get. M54, M70, M69. And these two are these are open clusters. You can see those in binoculars. That's M6 and M7. One of them is called Ptolemy's cluster, and the other was called the butterfly cluster. I think Ptolemy is M7, which Ptolemy and his Amalgist actually recorded way back when. And then there's what down over here is, oh, M55, 75. Okay. Yeah, yeah, it's too low. Okay, very low there. That's just coming up. That's you're going to have the same issues at that time of the morning. Yeah, and M75. M55, if you can get to it, is really a cool globular. It's much coarser globular cluster. M75 is another tough one to catch there. Of course, the M11 up here, that's the wild duck cluster. So anyway, that's the next big push, is to get all those. And then have a plan for the last tough objects. These will be in the morning sky and will be hard to see as dawn approaches. Practice ahead of time. If you have the time and the weather permits, you might want to try a dry run on the tough twilight objects and the Virgo cluster to just become familiar with it. But the most part is have fun. That's the most important thing. Have fun. You don't have to view them all. The competition is friendly. SEA marathons, while a challenge, are designed to improve your viewing skills rather than being an end to themselves. Oops, back up. Resources. I relied heavily on these two books, which I've had for quite a number of years. This one was by Don Macholtz, the blue one there. By far, I think the best published book on just the Messiers in general and the history of Charles Messier and running a marathon. Excellent book. As far as availability, I think both of these are probably out of print, although the Pennington book is a Wilman Bell book, and they are starting to republish. They're under new ownership now, so they may get around into publishing the Messier Marathon. This is another really good reference book. Here are some other resources. I don't know if you write them down. I guess we can, this will be in the, yeah. By far, the online resource is the www.messier.seds.org. That site has more information. You could spend days reviewing and looking through all the stuff that's on the, see, the SEDS stands for the Society of Students for Education and something of Science. Great source. And then Don actually has his own website there, donmacholtz.com. Another one I found was richardbell.net site, marathon. And the bellaonline.com was an interesting site. It had a lot of the history of Messier, some things I'd never really heard about. And then, of course, the magazine articles, I mentioned this Walter Scott Houston one in March 1979, and the Don Macholtz, if you would happen to run across the March 1980 copy of Astronomy magazine, he goes into in depth of some of the first attempts they did out there in California. So with that, are there any questions? Comments? Yes, Dave.
Is there a southern equator equivalent?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I thought where was it? I was reading one source that said something about the problem you get south of the equator, a lot of those really far northern ones, you know, like M52 and M40, which is just a little double star in Ursa Major. They're way low to the horizon too. So there is a limit how far south you can probably run it. But yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Dave asked if there was an equivalent marathon for running the event in the Southern Hemisphere. Is that correct? Yeah. And I hadn't run across anything specifically on it. Anything else? Well, no, the NGCs, and you get into hundreds. I mean, basically, as far as the NGCs, that was, or Herschel, come on, John Herschel cataloged, he went to Cape Town in South Africa and cataloged all the ones that, I mean, they were, both him and his dad, William, had their own lists of objects that were later combined into Johann Dreyer's New General Catalog, which then has had supplements and whatever else. Yes.
Codwell's.
Yeah, which is Caldwell, which is a list of objects recommended by Sir Patrick Moore, and the Caldwell was his middle name, I think. Yeah, that's how it came to be. But yeah, it covers the entire sky, and here there's a number of objects that are in the southern hemisphere.
So if you resign not to get all 110 of them in one night, you're still active in trying to do it. You want to practice some. There's nothing to stop you from doing a Messier marathon on any dark of the moon throughout the year.
Right.
And you may well get as many or more in other months than you would at the actual March time frame, depending on how much practice and
Yeah,
spend with it.
where you spend with it. That's one thing in Mackholtz's book. He talks about other, fall mini marathons, and of course he also talks about, well, when they first brought this up with the purest observers, and he said that isn't how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to find an object, sit there and study it and try to sketch it and everything, and you aren't going to be able to do that on a marathon. You're like, well, all you can do is say, yeah, I saw this at X time and move on to the next one. But that's not the fun. They just learn how to do it. Yes, Mike.
I just wondered, I probably would do it. What does the league require to get an award for that?
There is no board. Now, there's a couple places, I think, through that SEDS site. Oh, hey, you brought up one of the, okay. Oh, that was just, yeah, that was another one that was an interesting read. The SEDS site, somewhere in there, one of the many links I clicked on talked about that you could download a certificate or something and print it out saying and they want you to record or let them know there's a database out there of attempts and how many you saw and what date and whatever they keep too.
So for the league, you just have to have good documentation.
Well, there's no real league award for that, but for the Messier Observing Award, yes, there's a log. You're supposed to log it, the date and time and a description of what you saw and the scope you used and the magnification you used, and try to put a subjective thing down for the scene. And yes. Oh. Okay. Let's see. The question was, what do you have to basically log if you're going after the full Astronomical League Messier Observing Program Award? And they want a whole lot of information. Now this, okay, is this, yeah, here's one just for the Messier Marathon Observers Log. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just in the sequence of how to get there.
How to get there. Yeah, that search sequence with a place where you can log your, yeah. The
ends in 30.
begins with M74, 77, yeah.
77, 74.
Yeah.
These were just the links.
There was various links. Yeah, I had in mind. Oh, that was the one I thought was in. This was the author of this one, the Comet Ferret.
Anybody ever try a Caldwell marathon?
I think, let's see if he mentions it in here. Where's this? The Macholtz book I can't recommend it highly enough if you can still find a copy of it, but because he gives detailed charts for all the objects. I thought I had an index, but I guess he did. Oh, bibliography for this. He's got 2 pages of bibliography and other references. Seems like I came across somewhere, someone mentioning the Caldwell one.
Sorry. We got a question on Zoom. Swinsky Skywatch event. Are there specific objects that you guys look for?
Yes, there is. It depends on what's, as far as the moon and the planets, it depends on what's available. For example, by next Tuesday, we'll have what, a 4 or 5 day old moon to look at. Unfortunately, well, it's not like, would you say that the Jupiter is just barely above the horizon yet after sundown. The other, and yeah, it probably will. But, you know, the area is decent if you get a really transparent sky. That is so critical trying to observe in town is transparency. And that, what I mean by that is having, you know, a real crystal clear sky without any haze or high cirrus clouds or anything. Because right where we observe over there, there's no direct street lights glaring in your face, which is why we picked that spot. But
well, there's clusters, double stars.
yeah, you can see the brighter devils. I mean, what was it? We lucked out last month. We were looking at the Orion Nebula, and you could actually see some of the nebulosity around the 4 little stars they call the trapezium. You know, some of the brighter open clusters of stars. My voice is giving out here. Now, of course, for the general public, they like to see something that goes wow, and that's usually the moon or the brighter planets. You know, when we had Saturn and Jupiter, or when we have Saturn and Jupiter, which will be later in the year, they're always big draws. And of course, Venus now is in the morning sky too. Anything else? Okay, thank you. I'll leave these up here if you want to look at them later.
Let's take a break.
Wire me?
Hi there. No, you can just hold it like that.
Okay. Does it work? Secretary's report, February 2022 OAS meeting held on Friday, February 4th, 7:30. Virtual meeting over Zoom. We had approximately 27 members present, no guests. At least 3 people used Astro Park. Upcoming events, Ms. Rao will be held dates of June 2 through 4. St. Louis Astronomical Society, there'll be updates with info on venue, location, and hotels, et cetera, at a future date. Outreach, there was astronomy at the park scheduled for her Tuesday, February 8th. And there was an announcement there would be an Earth Day, actual real celebration held this year. More information to follow. No awards were given. Observing report, Sonali gave the monthly observing report. Highlights include the planets in the early morning sky, Saturn reaching conjunction with the sun on February 4th. Sunspots are spiking upward with the solar cycle heading towards maximum. So we should all be on the lookout for auroras. Telescope loan program, there were no changes in the telescopes in or out, so it was a quiet month. No tool time. Program Chair Jordan gave a very brief discussion on upcoming programs and announced that the March program would be about Messier marathons. The month's program was a online interview with Dr. Cian Proctor about her career and accomplishments as an astronaut and space artist. Business meeting, I gave the secretary's report. Michael Gallagher gave the treasurer's report. We had $396.98 in dues come in. $76.17 was the month's expenditures. At the end of February, the account balance is $14,900.73. We did not have a vice president's report. We did not have any old business. New businesses, there was extensive discussion about the 60th anniversary OAS dinner on Saturday, October 8th. The German American Center, which everybody had kind of agreed was probably the best choice, was available, and we decided to rent the hall with a $600 deposit. Food will be about $30.82 a person. Although the club will subsidize some of that, we've budgeted $3,000 for the event, which would cover approximately 80 people. We're probably going to charge a small ticket charge, mostly so that we have a better idea of the head count. Possible speaker choices were discussed, including perhaps having the current president of the Astronomical League as our speaker. The other new business was that Steve Skinner announced he would be stepping down as outreach co-chair. John asked if anybody else wished to volunteer for the position. Mike Modgren said he would volunteer to take Steve's place as the new outreach co-chair. The official vote to install Mike will be held at the March OAS meeting tonight, as it's an elected position. A motion to hold a special election was made by Sonali and seconded by Nina Baker. The motion passed. It was announced that the Science Center will be renovated this spring, but the side holding our meetings won't be done immediately. We have to get a new OAS contract with UNO for June. A motion to close the business meeting was made by Tom Wilson, seconded by Clete Baker. The motion was passed. And that is pretty much it for the minutes.
Does anyone have any corrections or additions to the minutes?
I might have one.
Okay,
I'm not sure if I heard about the rental of the German American Society Hall. It wasn't a reservation. It was the total cost was going to be $600 to rent that hall, I think. They didn't actually charge anything to reserve it.
is that? Okay. Reserved from rent. Okay. So changing the word rent to reserved, is that satisfactory, Mike?
I don't have the minutes in front of me, unfortunately. I just remember what I sort of remember what I heard. It sounded like we were going to pay a deposit of $600. We're not paying a deposit of anything. We just made the reservation is all. And when we have the banquet, they will charge us $600 to rent the hall.
Okay, so it's just reserved then. That's fine. Do we have the motion to accept the minutes as amended? Oh,
Second.
Cleat first, Nina second. A motion has been made and seconded to accept the minutes as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Thank you. Treasurer's report.
It was pretty simple last month. We had $99.46 income and dues, no expenditures. The balance at the end of the month is $15,074.66.
Oh, okay. I must have written that down wrong in my slide. I had 19 in my calculation, but that's all right.
19, I'm not sure I see where the problem.
I just took, since I didn't have a total, I took last month's end of balance and then added the 99.46 to it. But there might be other interest in things.
There's other things that go on, that
Okay,
It's more than that, John.
what was it? 15? Please read the total again, Mike. At the end of the month, the balance.
it's 1507466.
Okay.
I can look at the account again and see why it isn't that simple. What check came in, was some check that cleared or something.
Okay,
the
well, that
previous
would
month.
make sense. That
That's
makes
what
sense.
happens is
Okay,
if we wrote a check the previous month and it cleared during the next month.
that's fine. Thank you. I do not see Rodney online, so no vice president's report this evening. Although several of us have been down to Astro Park, it looks pretty good. Probably need to have the outhouse serviced for the spring coming up. You have to be a little bit careful in the dark. There are some cow patties that are landmined around the area, around one of the pads, but who let the cows in? Moo, moo, moo. Now I had to sing, didn't I? Okay. I don't know how they got in either. I got to go out of my van on Sunday night and narrowly missed getting blown up. So I moved to a different pad when I was there. So, and I see the sign is on the door, on the gate. That's good. Thank you. Old business. That's tabled until spring. 60th anniversary dinner update. So Mike did call, as you heard, and reserve the date for October 8th with the German American Center. We have to work on, we did mention we were going to do the buffet style. So that we may have to give them numbers, at least what, Mike, a month ahead of time for people? Is that what they were saying? Do you remember?
They would like as much notice as we could give them, but certainly if we can, they want to know what we want to eat, what the menu will be, and that from that they can come up with a price. You can have anything you want, you just have to pay for it. They would like it at least a month in advance or more.
Okay. Well, I got to know when to stop taking people's reservations, RSVPs, and paying for their part of it. So we'll say a month ahead of time.
Well, what you can do whatever you want in that, but I think they could adjust the numbers, a bit up to until pretty close to the date. But most of the plans you'd like to be made, at least a month in advance.
Okay. I'm gonna say
He asked for an estimated number, not an exact number.
well, right, but for him to know like what he's going to be serving that night, I want to give the time for them to know, and for us to have a planned date that we can tell people that, hey, you need to have your stuff in by this date. There's not going to be any walk-ins at the door, is what I'm saying. That's all.
We have to have a reservation, so basically.
Right, have the reservation in, correct, for an individual. So, you know, like Kelly and I, that's 2, right? So. So September 8.
John, you said it was gonna be a buffet,
Yes,
so that's easy then, you know, I mean, it's gonna be nice.
yeah.
It's nice and simple.
Mhm. And on the speaker front, we heard back from Carol. He has agreed to come up. So that's good. Things are falling into place rather nicely. We will likely have to get, there's a Holiday Inn, is that Express?
Holiday Express is right
Nearby
nearby.
the center. So down there off 132nd and now,
If that's all right with him, I'll make a reservation at some point.
yeah. Any other items on the OAS 60th? Anyone has any questions or concerns about? October 8th. It's the day after elections. Well, the OAS meeting is Friday the 7th. Not the federal elections. We'll be well into crazy time in October. Sorry, I didn't hope I didn't ruin your fall there, Cleet. And I'm sure I'll still be the president the next night. You're counting on it. That's true, not until November. That's right. So no walking out the door. Usually called a mouse, but never a duck. Oh, new business. We've got 2 items. Special election. Special election. Well, we should probably put the description up, shouldn't we? Documents. Officer description. Wait. There we go. Sorry about that. Keeps count of outreach events, sends out emails, signs up log, never from member participate, fields questions, probably responds with possibility about outreach events via email and phone calls, time requirements per month, 10 hours a week. Wow. I don't know if that's actually.
Not anymore.
No. 20. I have to say, is there anybody here who would like to put their hat in the ring for outreach co-chair? That's you, Mike. Well, I gotta have it open, right? Okay. Okay, Nina nominates Mike. Is there a second? Cleet?
They're the power.
You got the flip there.
But definitely over here is the power center.
Sound like we were the only 2 at the meeting.
Okay. A motion is on the floor to install or vote for Mike Moderson as outreach co-chair. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mike. Do you feel the power? Where was my presentation again? Where was it? There we go. There we go. So the other thing that we had to do was we were going to talk about Earth Day, correct? There's a reminder that is April 23rd, 12 to 6 p.m. And if I recall, let's go back to the board here and check our budget. 2022. I believe we put in $75 for that. Come on. There we go. Yep, $75. So it's in the budget. Saturday, the 23rd of April. April 23rd, 12 to 6 p.m.
So it's going to be a little bit later starting.
Yeah,
So it starts at 10 or so.
yeah.
John, I would like to make a motion that we participate in Earth Day this year.
Bill, motion. Mike Motorson seconds.
And it's the same drill at Elmwood Park or.
Yeah. A motion has been made and seconded to attend Earth Day with a booth. Table.
Maybe a pop-up.
That's true. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right. Yes, sir.
Do we know that the tables are going to cost us $75, if the table is going to cost us $75 this year?
That was the fee.
It's probably like, here's the booth space and the table.
Yeah, okay.
That's the total.
I just
Yeah.
wondered if that was.
It was a whole package.
No, it was actually.
They provide this. They provide a table.
Yes,
Yeah.
they provide the table and
That's
a
it.
couple of chairs.
Usually a couple chairs.
So bring a chair.
We bring the tent.
We usually bring a
Usually,
can.
right.
Yep.
And we bring chairs and
Is
Telescopes. And
Yeah.
telescopes.
oh, don't forget that.
Yeah. Fleet Nile will have solar telescopes up there. I mean, our telescopes with solar filters.
Okay.
It's really good about getting the planets.
we can usually get a plan.
Whew. Is Earth Day a nonprofit organization, the one that puts this on?
Yes. And if you go to their site, it actually says 11 to 6.
11 to 6.
Go to the Share Omaha site.
Oh, so it's in there, huh? Okay, that makes sense. Oh, Earth Day, look at the events. Wow, there's a lot of events in March. Wow. Ah, my mousing hand.
There it is, top of the page.
Hey, learn more. Earth Day Omaha Coalition. Okay. So there's the page. Come on, come over. My Zoom is interfering with the. Oh. It's hybrid. So 11 to 6. Da, 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 da.
Does it show the cost?
Get the details coming soon.
Oh, okay.
Donate, sponsors.
I believe the president has some discretionary funds should they
Yes.
raise their price.
Whoa.
Keep going down. There, nonprofit.
Nonprofit, right there, 75.
Oh, yeah. we certainly fit that description. Did you say urgent beer day? Oh, birds and beer day. That was in there? A warehouse party like you've never seen with craft beer vendors and local food. The small ticket price includes all you can drink and eat, a tasting glass to take home, and a t-shirt. Oh. Oh, boy. Hey, I was watching that. You know, it's been quite a 2-year journey. We're still continuing the journey. And I want to thank everybody for participating and helping and keeping up with everything we've done. And the fact that we're doing in UNO again, although we've been using their Zoom for many years, and Krista's work with that, and officers and the members, I really appreciate it. Thank you. No, I'm done with new business. Uh-oh. Is there any other discussion topics you would like to bring up today? Oh. Thank you. Thank you, Snolly. Bill, what again? Sorry. 3, Spring Star Party at Astro Park. Do you have a date?
Weekend of April 30th.
It's that new moon, right?
It is.
That would be good.
It would be a week out from our May meeting.
John remembered to tweet that with Mike.
Yes, so the question of the thing is, we're talking about having a Spring Star Party at Astro Park, April 30th. That is the current discussion topic, or May 28th. So those are the 2 dates in question. We're still in new business.
Which one's gonna be clear?
Which one is clear? That's the tough one.
May 30th is Memorial Day.
Oh,
May 30th.
May 30th is Memorial Day.
That's Memorial Day weekend.
That's the weekend.
Memorial Day weekend. So I was planning for, yeah, I was planning for April, right?
I think we had a plan it for April.
Yeah.
Okay,
End of April.
end of April. Is that like show up at 6? Slave over a grill?
Now you're talking.
I still got some hamburgers. They've been in the freezer the entire time, Bill. They aren't the ones that were cooked. Yep. Buns, we might need more buns though. Those might be a little. Yes. Do people like it? Should we do it? So Bill makes a motion. Boop, boop. Diana seconds. The motion for a star party, April 30th. I don't remember my words, sorry. A motion has been made and seconded to have a spring star party at Astro Park on April 30th. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Bill's raising his hand if you couldn't see that off camera, so it carries. Hooray! That'll be nice. Hopefully it'll be mowed before that.
Get the cows out there.
Oh, I'm hoping that it'll be deteriorated. Bring a shovel or some hay to throw down on this. It was already there when we got there. Do we have any other items? Do you want me to say, is there a motion to adjourn the business meeting? Bill?
Second.
Who said second? Was that John? Haven't had you on that list for a while there. A motion has been made and seconded to adjourn the business meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Oh, yes, the next meeting is April 1st. No joke. Yep. I don't know. McDonald's is still selling in Russia. Well, the biggest discussion on that, from what I've heard and read, is the question is about the International Space Station on what would happen to it if either we pulled out our stuff and went home, or stayed in orbit, I should say, or the Russians pulled out. Both segments are really dependent upon each other between the American section and the Russian segment. There was a discussion of the Russians pulling their segment off anyway in about 5 or so years. But most of the orbit raising maneuvers on the ISS are done by the Progress spacecraft that come up, that are launched by Roscosmos. SpaceX has mentioned that they could possibly do it. They'd have to build something because the Dragon spacecraft, the thrusters point out at an angle. They do not point straight back, so you couldn't necessarily do the raising with it as easily. The Cygnus spacecraft does have the ability to do some amount of boosting. There is a Cygnus on station at the moment that was launched recently. Hard to say how that will go, but it is still a little bit up in the air. I would want to think that there would be a bit more cooperation on that. However, that remains to be seen. A OneWeb satellite constellation launch was scrubbed when the UK started to ban Russian planes in the UK airspace, and then vice versa. So that is not going to happen. The Soyuz rockets that we're going to launch out of French Guinea, that's not going to happen anymore. Oh, what was the other one? Yeah, ExoMars was supposed to launch on that, so that's going to have to be a bit different. Roscosmos says they're not providing any more rocket motors for US rockets, nor the expertise to, quote, maintain them, which, yeah. So the Antares rocket uses those rocket motors. There was an Antares launch, which launched the Cygnus a couple weeks ago. So that is like a first stage motor, is what it is. The RD-180 is the name of the motor.
I've heard that Northrop Grumman is busy crash developing a booster module for the space station. And this is what SpaceX.
Mhm.
Hawaii can use to do that as well.
Possibly. It's certainly not going to be the Boeing Starliner because that's just got a lot of delays in it. There was a proposed module that the US was going to build, but that was scrapped a long time ago for doing orbit raising. So it's hard to say. I get my stuff watching like Scott Manley on YouTube or NASA Spaceflight. Their streams, they've got a lot of information. Plus some of the Twitter threads by those people. The AN-225 Miria plane has been reportedly destroyed, the largest plane in the world.
Yeah, I heard that.
I saw the big smoking crater at the runway where it was.
It was in the hangar. You can still see the tail sticking out of the hangar in the satellite photo. So it is not pleasant.
What destroyed it?
Russians. I actually watched the live stream of them shooting up the nuclear plant last night. And that was
A lot
not,
of us were watching.
maybe that's a grim thing to keep recording in the meeting. We can go ahead and end the recording. Thank you. This is just a normal sign off like, thanks for joining us. Stay